We bought a farm. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Autumnly at Home. I am so excited. We have bought a farm. It is closing day. We have officially bought the farm and the homestead. So follow along with me. I am going to give you a tour of the house, of the farm. It is a very small farm homestead, and we are going from a 2,600 square foot house to a 1,200 square foot house. As you can see, it is small, but the idea behind it was to trade indoor space for outdoor space. And so let me show you around the place. I'm so excited. We are finally here, and we are going to be doing a little bit of renovations here and there. Nothing big at first, but I wanted to be able to walk you around the property before all of that happens. So today is literally closing day, and I'm going to show you around. First off, I have the front of the house, which, as you can see, when we come in the front door, here's the front door. This used to be a porch, but right now it's what they used as their room for their dogs, and we are going to be using it more of like a mud room. So this is the living room window. There's another door right here, and we're gonna be, I think what I'm hoping to do, I'll kind of give you the idea of my plans for it, as well as kind of what we're thinking and what it looks like right now. We're not gonna be making any major changes in the beginning, but we are going to be putting on a new roof, painting. We might be taking some popcorn ceiling down. I'm not really sure yet. But I think what I'm wanting to do is make this room into kind of like a mud room, because when you're on a farm, you want somewhere to put dirty shoes, because you don't want to be tracking those dirty shoes and mud and poop all through the house, because even when it's raining, you still have to feed your farm animals. We will not plan to have farm animals right away, but future plans as we grow into this property and build, we're hoping for the next year to maybe start off with a garden, chickens. There's an orchard. I will share all of that with you, and I'm really excited to do that. But this is going to be our mud room, and I'm hoping to put like a coat rack or something down there with like a bench to put shoes on down here, and we have the space to do that. Here is our front door. And I will kind of show you, spliced into this video of me walking and talking, I will add in other video footage as well of the house that you can see a little bit better. I do have to figure out light switches, so give me 1 second. This is the front door that we were just walking through. I know the lighting is pretty poor, but we will change that over time. This is the front window where you can kind of see where that mudroom is going to be, and our living room. You can kind of see where it is. The floors are going to need a little bit of work, but we're going to probably put a rug down right away. And obviously we need to clean. This house and property was being sold as is. So there's lots of things that need to be updated and fixed, but that's the fun in it, where we get to share with you all of the before so that you can follow along on the journey as we fix it. But this is where we'll put our couch over here, I think, and then maybe the TV over on this side. And then through this door right here, you can kind of see like the archway. There's an archway. This is the eating area. Now, we didn't realize it, but they decided to leave their table. We weren't planning on for them to, but so now we need to decide if we're gonna use their table or if we're gonna bring our own. But you can see that they have their table and chairs here. This is the eating area, kind of like the kitchen nook. We do have a hutch, and I haven't decided if I'm gonna put that here or here on this wall as you walk in. But one of the crazy things too is that if you're new to this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can follow along on this journey. But also, we are new to the whole downsizing thing. We are going from a 2,600 square foot house, which is huge, down to a 1,200 square foot house, which is what this is. So if you are new to the channel, we have been decluttering for months and months and months, because everywhere we were looking at farmland wise all had small houses. So we knew that that was probably coming. But I can tell you that all that we have is still not gonna fit. So there's gonna be some hard decisions in the future that we need to make, starting off again with the table. I don't really know if we haven't decided if we're gonna keep the table that's here or keep ours, because I grew up with the one that we have. This is the kitchen, and I will show you kind of footage again spliced in so you can see what it looks like even when I'm not in the screen, but it does have a dishwasher, which a lot of farmhouses don't. So I'm grateful for the dishwasher. There's no disposal, but I do love that it looks out to the pool area. So you can see that there's a pool. I will show you that later as well. There is gonna be a lot of cleaning, updating, renovating, as well as just maintenance work that was kind of just let go. So the people that moved out before us, I think they moved out a little while before us, and they didn't really take the time to clean anything, mow the lawn. They mowed the area right up next to the house, but they did not mow like the fields. This is 7.5 acres, almost just shy of 7.5 acres. And so our goal was to trade indoor space for outdoor space, and thankfully we can do it. Also, I want to point out that my hubby got me a new camera, and I'm very excited because this is my first time using it. So the video footage may look a little different, but we are practicing with it. And I thought, what better time to do the first video on it than our first walkthrough of this new property. We have a gas stove, and the gas is not going to be turned on until later on. The air conditioning works really well in there.
Hell, the air conditioning works decent in the house. It's nice and cool right now.
I know, and it's just all turned on too. So the air was set to 78, but we just turned it down, and we were curious at how well it worked. But I think it's gonna work really well. And we're coming from a very warm house, so we're excited to have really hardcore air conditioning. But we have a gas stove. That's not gonna be able to be turned on until next week because the previous owners had already turned it off. So we have it set up to being turned on next week. And we asked them to leave the refrigerator just because ours was older, and this one we knew fit. So that works out well. The electrical panel is right here in the kitchen. So I'm gonna have to do something with that, maybe put a picture over it. I'm not really sure. I think the previous owners that just moved out had kind of redone the kitchen, but did it themselves. So obviously you can see the tile and everything is self-done. And over time, we would love to renovate the kitchen and renovate different areas of the house. But for now, it's actually a really good kitchen. It's a solid kitchen that will do the job great for what we need it for. This is the eating area. They have their table kind of hooked up towards the kitchen. And then in this area, I'm thinking of putting our hutch. I'm not really sure. We have like a pie safe type big hutch that I'm thinking of putting homeschooling supplies in, which is also a new adventure. We are going to be homeschooling. We've never done that before, so that will be new for us as well. I'm really nervous about it, but any tips and tricks that you have for homeschooling, put them down in the comments below. I would love to hear any advice or just encouragement. Words of encouragement would be great too. But this area definitely is, I think they previously had their freezer there, and we may have to put our stand-up freezer there in this corner as well. I really don't want to, but we will see if we can't find anywhere else to put it. Now, there's some little, odds and ends things that are kind of little persnickety with buying a farmhouse. There's the old doorbell, and she had her kids' artwork covering it up. So we're gonna have to find ways to kind of update, make it look pretty, that sort of thing. It is a very small house, but we are going to make it work because my goal is to allow my kids to have space to play outside, and there is going to be plenty of that. So this is the primary bathroom, the one bathroom for all of us people. There's no bathtub. There is, however, a shower, and it's kind of small in here, so I don't know if you're gonna be able to see super well. But this is the shower space right here. It's a decent sized shower, decent sized bathroom in general. There's one sink in here. And again, I think it will be just fine. We're gonna have to get used to it, but we will. We will eventually get into a new routine. There are 2 hall closets that are pretty small. This one, I think we're hoping to make our linen closet / like games, board games, that sort of thing. Mainly linen closet, I think. And then there's another one over on the opposite side of the hall that it has the air exchange in the bottom, and then it's a little bit deeper and bigger. We're thinking of making this part of my husband and my closet. So like, even if it's not technically in our room, we're thinking of putting some of our wardrobe in here because all the rooms are about the same size. There's no master suite. And so one of the things that we are going to be figuring out is who gets what room. This is the largest room in the house. However, it has the smallest closet. So my husband and I we sleep on a king size bed and it takes up, you know, a lot of space, and we could sleep on a queen size bed, but my husband is a very large dude. He is 6'7". He's just, you know, really tall, big dude. And so we sleep a lot better if it's a king size bed. So I think we've decided, regardless of how much floor space and space it takes up in our room, it is worth it to us that this is just gonna be an area that we sleep in. It's gonna be our restful zone, whereas everywhere else will be, you know, fun zone of chaotic and family and that sort of thing. So I think there's enough room in here to put a king size bed. We are going to have to sell the bed frame that we had previously and buy kind of a more low-key bed frame. And then I think we're gonna put our dresser on this side with the TV on top of it. So that's what we're thinking. Now, obviously that could change come moving day. And then in here, this is the smallest closet, but for whatever reason, they have a huge hole cut out of the bottom of the closet, and it feeds into like the hall linen closet or the hall closet that I just showed you. So we're thinking that, again, because it's right there, maybe we could utilize that. As long as we have enough space elsewhere, we could utilize that space for being our closet as well. Now at the end, they did a lot of like their own woodworking, and they made these bookshelves, and I actually kind of like them, and I think it would be great if we put the 2 girls in this room, 2 boys in this room is kind of what we're thinking. And we could put the books right here so that if they want to read something in the morning or in the evening, they have a spot they can grab books from. So I might keep those. Again, time will tell. We do need to repaint them because I don't know if I want purple in my hallway. But this right here was their daughter's room that lived here before us. And as you can see, she enjoyed purple and blue. But we are going to repaint everything. She had purple trim, purple door, and then, I'm sorry if I'm making y'all sick, I'm kind of swinging the camera around. And then the door right here is blue. So very colorful. We plan to repaint everything in here to kind of make it a little bit more cohesive and pretty, but they have a much larger closet than we do. So we're thinking this is gonna be my 2 daughters' room, and it is pretty small, but my daughters have a bunk bed, so we'll probably put that over here. What we don't know is they also have 2 dressers, and I don't know if those will, or 2 chest of drawers, I guess is what it's called. I don't know if those will fit. I think time will tell with those. They also have a bookshelf. So trying to figure out, do we have room for all of that? I don't know. I did bring a measuring tape today, and with it being closing day, I actually have time to walk through and measure everything. So we're gonna try to do that as well so that we know what to put on the moving truck. Right across the hall, you will see we are in the boys' room. It was their son's room as well. We will also paint it. And out the windows, there's not really much to look at because there's I don't know if you can see it because it's kind of bright. Yeah, it's kind of bright so you can't see it. But the cars are parked right there, and then out this window is the pool and garden and orchard. So they have kind of a prettier view that way. But we are going to repaint in here as well. It will be my 2 sons' room. The 2 older sons, they will share a room. And again, both of them have 2 chests of drawers, 2 nightstands, and 2 beds. And a bookshelf as well. So trying to figure out where are we gonna put what, will that all fit? More than likely, it will not fit. We're gonna have to try to, you know, revamp it, figure out what all we're gonna be able to fit in here and go from there. All of the rooms have fans. I don't think you can see it. Let's see if I can kind of, there we go, fans. All the rooms have fans, and we actually love that because we love it cold in the house, and the rest of our kids do too. So with an older farmhouse, we were kind of nervous that it would be really hot in here, but it feels really good, and it's about 90 degrees outside. So I don't think we have anything to be concerned of. Now, again, with the house being sold as is, that means that the HVAC system is also, you know, pretty old. The inspector said that it works great. There's nothing wrong with it. But I think our goal is to save money over time and try to replace things if we need to. We're not going, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. So that's our motto. And so we plan to not fix things unless it actually breaks. But we know eventually that that's probably going to be bound to happen not too long from now. So that is primarily the tour of the house. We do have one more area, and we are currently, I don't know if you can tell, there's the living room, I'm standing in the eating area, and there's the kitchen right there. So this direction, if you go straight through the front door, through the living room, into this area, this used to be the back porch. You can see where the back tile used to be. There was a door that led indoor and outdoor right here. And if you go through it, then you actually can see that they closed it in, and it is now what is the laundry room. So they built these shelves right here. We will update these and make them look a little prettier because the size of the cabinets, if you can see, the doors are not the right size. They close all the way, but there's major gaps and that sort of thing. And then these don't even have doors, but there are shelves. So that is great storage space, and we can keep that and just update what's there. And then right here is where the washer and dryer will go. And then on this side is a half bath, which is very important. If you want the half bath, right through this back door, right here is the pool. So if they go from the pool and need to go to the restroom, they are walking on tile to a half bath and not tracking it all through my house. So that is a great bonus spot that we are grateful for, because every other farmhouse that we looked at, a lot of them only had one bathroom. And with this being an added on to the back porch, they added a half bath and a laundry room, which worked out great because that is something that was really needed for our family. In the half bath, if somebody's showering in the main bathroom and somebody needs to go to the restroom, we still have that ability. So now that we have toured the inside of the house, let's check out outside. Okay, we have come through, and again, I'm gonna splice video footage over me talking so that you can see like the full panoramic view of it versus just me talking. But we came down through the back door. That was the laundry room. This is a covered porch on this side, as well as this side. So we have a nice little ceiling covered porch area and a wooden deck that goes a little bit further this way and leads into like a graveled space. They left their picnic table and it's in decent shape, so we will probably use it until we replace it. But we also have patio furniture, so we'll probably put that out here as well. There's a wooden deck, gravel area, and then you have the pool. This whole area was clean and put together for the pictures as well as the walkthrough. Back when we did our walkthrough, we came back in May. Was it May or March? I think it might have been March. Wow, it's been a while. I think we did our walkthrough of this property back in March when we came to look at it. It was for sale by owner, and they were selling as is, which means that the owner walked around with us. We didn't take any footage because, again, that would be kind of disrespectful and rude, and it wasn't our property. But when we did the walkthrough, the water was pretty clear. They had just covered it back up after the pictures for the selling of the property were taken. So we know that it works, but because it's being sold as is, they didn't do anything to it since then. And I had a feeling they weren't going to, because they were just trying to get out of the house. They were selling it pretty quick, and they did want a long closing date for family reasons. And so we were able to give that to them by moving into the house with my parents. That also gave us time to sell our house. So really it was kind of a win-win all the way around. We have it set up to where we plan to clean this up pretty quick because we want our kids to be able to utilize it this summer before, you know, that's the fun of having a pool. You want to be able to play in it. So our goal is to take the tarp off within the next few days and check it out, maybe even tomorrow, and check it out, see how much cleaning we need to do. The pump and everything is running and functional over there. We can hear it running. And then one of the other really cool things about this property is it has solar panels. If you can see the equipment right there behind me, we are buying this property and the solar panels are actually already paid off. There's only, I think, like 4 or so on the roof, and they're completely paid off. The homeowner himself actually put them on. So we are able to utilize that as well, which was kind of just, all of this is an added bonus. A lot of it is stuff that we weren't really expecting, but really grateful for. It's really sunny out, so if I'm squinting, that's why. But as we go across the pool over here, on this side, you can see that there is a garden, a small garden over here, and we will update this again. As we walk around, you'll see that a lot of it is majorly overgrown, and we kind of expected that because we knew that they were just trying to get out of the property and out of the house, and we had a feeling it was going to be overgrown. But when we did a walkthrough, they had a big garden over here, as well as behind me and beside the pool, there's an orchard. There's peach trees, blueberry bushes, all sorts of things. There's a gate there to get through to the orchard, and then there's also a gate right here. I don't know if you can see it because I can't tell where I'm pointing, but there's a gate right here as well to get to the garden. So during the summertime, if we plant the right plants, we can have snack time right beside the pool. Isn't that awesome? So I have not actually figured out this gate yet. Oh, look, I got it. It's kind of like a different little mechanism, but all right, so we're going into the orchard here. And look how pretty. I don't know if there's actually blooms. I don't know how great the trees are, if they're doing well or not. I don't know anything about orchard or gardening, but I can tell you that they are very green. Some of them are looking like they're kind of dying back a little bit, but there's at least 5 or 6 peach trees. And I want to say, I know she said that there's blueberry bushes, and I want to say that there might be like a pear tree or nut trees or something like that out here as well. So part of that is just going to be the fun of exploring the property and getting to know it. And we talked to the seller, the people that just moved out. They said that they have lots of wild foxes and sometimes even wild boars. So that's something that we're going to have to kind of keep in mind and be aware of. But this is kind of the orchard area that I know some of it is kind of dying away, and we'll have to kind of love on it some to try to bring it back if we can. But we'll update that as we go. Next up, we have the workshop. Here's the workshop. This is an open space. It's just kind of like a big metal building. See if I can walk forward and you can see it a little better. It's just a big metal building. This is where they kept their lawnmower and kayaks. I think for us, we're gonna be doing similarly. We're in the market for trying to buy a tractor and or like a 0-turn lawnmower that kind of functions similarly to a tractor, with the idea that eventually we would get a tractor. But it's just one big metal shed, and they left a lot of their tools and woodworking. So like a lot of scraps, odds and ends. I don't have electricity in here, so the lighting's probably not great. But you can see that they left a lot of stuff, and whatever was left here, we were told they're fine with it. So we will eventually go through and organize things, clear things out, try to, figure out, is it stuff that we actually want or we want to get rid of? And then same thing on this side. They have lots of wood and lots of timber and just kind of odds and ends of places, what you would expect from a workshop. Now, this next piece that I want to show you, I'm actually really, really excited about. It is part of the property that I think has been here the longest. I don't know the time frame of it, but it's something that we want to research, and it's kind of part of the history of this land. And that is the remains of a partial sharecropper's cabin. I don't know much about it. It's attached to the back of this workshop, but I can tell you that if you look at it, it is very old. You can see like the original wood, the window. Over time, over the 85 years that a farmer has been here, I'm pretty sure, I don't know for sure. Again, this is all speculation and I will research it, but I want to look into the history of it more and see if there was, what was on the property ahead of time. But you can tell that it was used as like a shed for the longest time. There's been kind of updates to it. Splices of it have been peeled back. So it's not in the best condition, but it's actually pretty cool. That's something that we would have fun kind of researching in the future. So that's something that we can do together, and maybe over time in the future we can kind of look into what it was used as. Was it truly a sharecropper's cabin, or was it used as something else, and when was it built? I'm also kind of intrigued to see if there's little remains of eras back in the day that may still be there, because you can see the window right there as well, the old window for the sharecropper's cabin. And then back here there's the remains of like an old chicken coop. I think I hear like a baby deer somewhere, and I know my husband found one yesterday that was nestled down, so hopefully I don't scare it off. But that's we're going around the back of the property. This right here, and it's starting to get overgrown, so we need to kind of retake it soon, is a 2-story shed that we actually intend to use as like our homeschool room and or pool room or rec room, and we do need to renovate it. So that's on the to-do list actually for pretty quickly, and I'll show you why when I get back around the front. But we're going around the back. There's a little cat door, doggy door in the back of it, and I'll show you what's wrong with it and when we get around to the front of it. But once we can renovate it, it actually could be a really great either storage space or space for, being able to utilize as like an extra space, since we don't have that at the house. So what we just came through was the back of the property into a lean-to that leads into the barn. So we are now inside of our barn where the stables are. There are 2 stables. One is right here, and this is the actual active stable that is feeds, and you can see the little entrance right there where goats or other animals can come through. And I think I want to say I saw a horse in here recently too. So they kept, the previous owners had horses, goats, pigs, chickens, all of the above. They would raise cows, from bottle-fed cows, and sell them as meat because there's a dairy farm down the street. So a lot of times they would get the male cows from the dairy farm because they weren't really able to utilize them on the dairy farm, and they would bottle feed them and then sell them, which is why they also had a stand-up freezer in their kitchen. So a lot of times this is where their goats and other animals lived. She also worked and trained horses and worked with therapy kids. So that was really neat that we get to kind of share that experience with her, of her sharing that with us. There's a loft up here. I don't know if I can see it, all the way up there. And we're still kind of learning about this property too, so not all of it we know for sure. But what's really cool is the previous owners actually turned this stable, so we could turn it back into a stable, but I actually like what it's utilized as right now. She turned it into like a birthing room. So if her goats were having babies, or if there's baby chicks or anything like that, there's one little stable right here that is one little birthing room. And then there's another tiny little stable right here, and all of this actually has electricity as well. So what's really cool is you have all of this that we can use as, like, if we were to, you know, we're playing around with what animals we want to do. We haven't decided yet, and we're not going to jump on anything. We really just want to get to know our neighbors, get to know the land. I think the biggest thing that we know we can jump on pretty quick are chickens, and we're really excited about that because the kids are going to have a blast with that. But beyond that, we keep toying with the idea of maybe getting sheep. We like the idea of getting sheep and maybe some meat cows. But again, we've never done this, so we want to start slow and kind of work our way into it. But we have the space to do it now, which is great. All the options are there, all the fun ideas are there, and we're just, you know, we're blessed. We feel so blessed that God has given us this opportunity, and we want to, you know, I want to glorify him through it. I want to show around, share this with our friends and family, be able to share it with our kids. My husband was just saying that he just went around to the back of the property and was just kind of looking around now that we got here, and that he thinks that there are some wild hogs back there right now. I'm not going to go back there because I would love to not get, you know, attacked by a wild hog, but he hears some squealing. Either that or the neighbors could have pigs too. I don't know. But we are going to talk to the kids about that because we want to make sure that they don't, you know, go back there without us, at least at first, until we can kind of figure out if they're wild or if they're neighbors. Because we do have an issue with that in South Carolina here now, are some wild hogs. And the previous owners today at closing said that there is a pack of wild hogs that live in the area. So we just want to be mindful of that. But what a blessing this is. This is such a blessing, and we just want to glorify God through that and pay it forward with our friends and family and pass this blessing off along to our kids and share that with them. Now, I did mention that this shed, this 2-story shed, we're hoping to turn it into our rec room / you know, playroom, pool room, homeschool room, whatever you want. But we had, if you remember, and I can put this, I made a video about it, describing it. It was a pretty hardcore event that happened here in the upstate of South Carolina, and I made a video on everything that happened. I will put that down in the description if you are interested in going to watch the details on that. But we actually had a Category 1 hurricane in the upstate inland in South Carolina, and it went up through South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, and it hit us hard. Almost every street had at least one house with a tree right down the middle of it, and this property apparently was no different. So if you look up there, you will see that back during Hurricane Helene, thankfully the property, this one didn't have any flooding issues. There is a creek that runs along the back, and I'm hoping to explore that and maybe go take a look at it with our kids later, either today or tomorrow. Right here, this tree had a big branch, or another tree, I'm not really sure, we weren't here, but it fell on this shed. So it has been open to the elements for the past about 1.5 years. And unfortunately, that means that we need to try to fix it pretty quick when we come. But on Monday is when the roofer is supposed to come and patch up that roof. So I'm hoping, I wanted to show you the before and after, and I am going to take you inside so you can see, because it's actually a pretty big shed. I say shed, it's almost the size of like a barn. If you look at it, it's pretty big, it's huge. And again, overgrown, kind of needing some help. Hopefully there's no snakes in here, but you can see it's actually a really large shed that we have. And if you go in here, you can see that it's gonna be dark because I don't have the power on. but it's big. It's big. There's a lot of space. We kept our couch from our playroom and we plan to put it on this side over here, and then maybe like TV, bookshelves. But when we first move in, we plan to use it for storage. So also, I don't know what they used it for. I think their son probably used it as a playroom because there's ropes that you can climb. Now, there is an upstairs, and I'm gonna take you up there in just a moment. I don't wanna walk all the way out until we have the general contractor come out. He's actually the one that's doing our roof. He's also a general contractor, and we're gonna ask him to make sure that it's safe. The owners before the previous owners used this space as like their office, because I'm assuming they had a business here on the property. And it's well decorated, there's electricity. You can see it used to be an office of some sort with now a large hole, which is really sad. So if you look, the concern I have is obviously insulation we're gonna have to fix. The main part is the roof, and I wanna make sure that the area on the ground, if you can look, we're gonna sweep that all up, see what it looks like underneath, make sure it's safe for our kids to come out here, safe for us to come out here and be able to utilize this property. Unfortunately, you know, that's kind of part of buying as is. We saw the property back before a lot of storms came through, and even since then, it's starting to look a little worse than it did before. So we just wanna make sure it's safe before we put all of our stuff in here and it gets messed up. But we do have them, we plan for them to fix the roof. Now, if it comes to fixing the structure, we'll have to kind of reassess and see what it looks like then. But I'm diving underneath. There's like a little thing. There is a door here as well, but that's overgrown by weeds. So we're gonna have to kind of reevaluate that door, try to get it open too. But this is such a large space that at first we're gonna use it as storage, and then in hopes to eventually turn it into like an extra like livable space that's just bonus space, which would be really fun. Last but not least, we are going to go over, well, actually we have a couple of spots we still need to look at. We have a huge grassy knoll here right in front of the house that has a fire pit, and that is just very well laid out to the back of the pool as well, so we can utilize the fire pit, the pool, when we have friends and family over. Again, outdoor space is going to have to be utilized because there's no indoor space. Here is the chicken coop, and again, hope there's no snakes in there. But we have a nice chicken coop, and I'll kind of walk out so you can see it a little better. And I'll, again, splice it in there so you can see it too. But we have a chicken coop that's already here on the property, which is great because that means we don't have to build one. So we are going to utilize that. There's a chicken run right beside it. That's good enough. I can't get it closed. So there's a chicken run right here too that she recently took her chickens out like probably 6 months ago. So there's been a while since there's been chickens in there. But it wasn't that long ago that it was being utilized. So that space will definitely get used, and it'll probably be the first that gets used. And eventually we want to get a chicken tractor that we can put out and do rotational grazing with whatever other animals that we have. But at first, the chickens. There's a gate right here. You can enter onto the back pasture through. And then this building right here is the tackle shed, the tackle barn. And they had horses that they would ride, so they used it as like their place that they kept all of their stable gear and their saddles and all of that stuff. But it's actually pretty large in here. Let's see if I can kind of show you around. See? It's a pretty large room, and we will again utilize this at first for probably just storage. But eventually, the more animals we get, we're gonna have to reclaim it and put the storage elsewhere and use it as an actual tackle room, which is what it's meant for. But there's a room, a door out back, so you can come from outside the pasture through here into a pasture out here. I don't really know how to open it, so to be determined. We'll have to figure out how to open it, but I know that that's a door and we can get out there. So I need to see what the latch looks like on the other side. But that's one way that we can get in and out of the pastures. And there's like a little deck off back, which is actually pretty fun because we can go back there and even put chairs back there, as long as it's, I think it can be within the pasture, but you also can keep it closed off and fenced off. There's a gate right here that you can enter into this lean-to that is next to the actual tackle shed here, but it's a lean-to where if we were to ever get a milking cow, this is going to be ideal and fantastic. We will be very grateful for that, because when you have a milking cow, you don't want to have to milk anything in the rain, and you can't stop milking just because it's raining. So So I didn't realize this was here either. So you can actually enter the pasture here. I wonder how we would do that with the goats though, or like the sheep. I'm not really sure, but you can enter the pasture here through there. And then if it were like as big as a horse, they can't get back out. And then of course there's this one as well. So we'll just have to kind of figure out and play with how we want to set it up and fix it up how we want. But look at all of this. Oh my goodness. We have the lean-to here. There's that little deck that I was talking about that is back there. You can see that they built on a little bit of a deck to the back of the tackle shed. There are 3 separate paddocks from what they had before. They had electric fences, so there's one main fence going all the way around that is like a solid fence, and then there's electric fences turning it into different paddocks, like different areas of the farmland. And then at the very back, it's kind of like rolling hills to the back of the wood line. And then at the very back of the wood line, there is a creek, which we have not actually seen. And that's something that I'm hoping to go see, is to be able to go and explore that with the kids, hopefully this week at some point. But I don't want to get ran over by a boar either. So we're gonna hang up here for now until we can all go back there together. And that way we can make sure it's nice and safe. But with that being said, I don't think that the boars can get in the property, but that's something that we want to double check the fence line before we say that, because again, this property has been sold as is. I don't expect them to have maintained or fixed any of the fences since then. You can see some of them are kind of starting to slump and fall down too. So we need to mow. We need to do a lot of yard work. It's all overgrown, and that's okay. We kind of expected that to happen, but we will do that with time. That's where it's beautiful that we can show you the before and after, show you what it looks like now, and show you what it will look like after we are done and fix up the place a little bit. But this is the space that we came here for. This is why we came here. It's so hard to find land in upstate South Carolina right now, and we were able to find land and a house on our budget. It has a pool, an orchard, a garden, workshop, barn, stables, all the things, and oh my gosh, what a blessing that is. So we want to steward this well. We want to take care of it the best we can, and we would love any words of encouragement down below. Would be great. But this is where we would plan to do the rotational grazing and just enjoy the property. But I just want to take this time to say thank you so much for joining me here today at Autumnly at Home. It is truly an honor that you have joined us here and get to go on this journey with us. You get to see the before and after, see what it looks like, and just truly, you know, walk this journey, see how it develops, and see what good, bad, ugly, all of the above. You can join us for that. I will put a journey to there's a bug. I will put a journey to the Homestead playlist right here that you are welcome to watch until my next upload. I upload every Friday at 5 o'clock, and I hope to see you then.